it's a strange feeling to be locked in a room that is not really designed to be secure when there are angry people outside.
To break down barricades and force their way into the Capitol and put people in fear for their lives and their safety, and that's just not right. And we saw that, of course, happening in Portland, and I spoke out forcefully against it. I do the same thing here.
In the U.S. Senate, the debate was suddenly gavelled to a halt as Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Chuck Grassley, the presidential pro tem, were escorted from the chamber. Congressman Cliff Benz was not on the floor as a COVID-19 precaution.
We were watching the situation like everybody else from our office.
Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley was on the floor.
So all of that was very, very sudden, very unusual. And because we could hear noises, my assumption, and I think all of our assumption, is that protesters had entered the building. I mean, that just seemed like the automatic response. And
the Senate doors were then closed and locked.
We heard rumors that shots had been fired, but nobody could confirm that they'd actually seen evidence of that until just moments before I got on this call. That type of fervor and that type of belief that people were coming to interrupt the process, we should have been very, very prepared for in ways that we weren't.
NBC News later confirmed with law enforcement the shots fired hit and killed a woman.
I just want to compliment the Capitol Police for doing their very, very best to keep people safe, but they were simply overwhelmed by thousands of people.
In the House, debate was interrupted as members were told to sit and stay calm and wait for Capitol Police. Senator Ron Wyden releasing this statement, saying in part, "This is far from peaceful protest, but I thank the Capitol Police for their courage protecting all elected officials from criminals bent on destroying democracy, and I very much look forward to resuming the urgent work for our country as soon as possible." Senators and members of Congress were later evacuated away from each chamber, with congressional leadership taken to secure locations.
70 million people believe, a big, huge chunk of them believe, that somehow this election was not conducted correctly. And those issues need to be front and center, or this kind of protest will not be resolved.
But despite President Trump's conspiracy claims, dozens of lawsuits were thrown out or rejected. No widespread evidence of voter fraud has ever been proven anywhere in the 2020 presidential election.
The local leaders say, this mob, look, all these people who have this feeling, we should listen to them. And that's what we heard on the floor of the Senate today. We heard we should listen to the mob. And that's why we should stop the election of Joe Biden, because so many people believe that something has gone wrong. And that is exactly the wrong position to take.
Meanwhile, in Oregon's Capitol, supporters of President Trump and a separate group of protesters have gathered near the Capitol building in Salem. The Oregon State Police declared an unlawful assembly Wednesday afternoon. A tweet from OSP said everyone must leave the area or be subject to arrest or use of force. Senator Merkley has released a statement calling the attempt to overturn the election a coup. Meanwhile, Congressman Bentz says he believes it's a protest gone bad.